Hey Flosstubers, it's Katie the Stash Queen coming to you for my weekly update on this Sunday, September the 6th. New background behind me. We started, yesterday I spent most of the day rearranging my daughter's room. My back is reminding me that probably wasn't a smart thing. But anyway, there was a desk. I'm still in the same room. This is my mom cave still, but there was a desk on this wall. The back of me now is what I was always facing in my other videos. So we moved the desk into her room, and that started giving us a little bit more space in here. On one hand, that I can start getting some of this stuff out of here. On the other hand, everything that was affiliated on the desk, around the desk, got moved to where I normally do my videos. So I had to improvise and move around here. I hope everyone has had a good Stitchy week. Mine's been kind of weird. I also apologize. I look like I just rolled out of bed because I kind of did. And my back is not doing so hot and my voice is not doing so hot, but it was kind of a weird week for me. Went to the doctor on Wednesday, got some, found out my blood pressure was really high. So got put on some meds. So I've been working on adjusting to the new medication. All of my other issues, we have to kind of wait until we get my blood pressure under control before we can address any of those things. So, stitching happened every day this week. My, specialty stitch September, my box of delights, is coming along really well. And then plus it was the beginning of the month, and you've got the 2 stitch alongs, and Zodiac for me this month took a whole lot longer than it normally does, and I blame that on the meds and the health and all of that sort of thing. But so there are a couple holdovers this week, but you know, I got stitching in every day, and really this is a hobby, so even if I don't get to a certain piece on the day that I had planned on it, that's fine. It just gets bumped to the next day. No big deal. So today I have haul that I'm going to do in 2 parts. I'm going to do my standard haul at the beginning like I normally show you guys, and then the other part of my haul was from a couple of trips to Half Price Books, which I blame Copy Stitcher for giving me that idea. And so I've got books, and I'm going to do that at the end, kind of like as the next installment of my stash, even though I just got them this week. Then I've got my week in review and my whips for the week, and why don't we go ahead and get started. A little bit of haul this week. First part that I got, I told you guys before that Queen of the Needle had a couple of things like flosses that I didn't have in my LNS, and I had to order them from a couple of different places. I got another order from another place of that in today. So this is the French silk that I can't pronounce. But this is color 621. It's a pretty yellow. And this is another cool one of the other silks. This one is number 1003. It's a really pretty purple. So I got both of those in. I also got the Raven Queen's Almost Upon Us. I think I've decided the fabric I'm going to use. 95% sure. I think I'm going to use my Loki, and I'll show that again closer to time. But I showed Loki when I was doing my Hand-Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie haul or stash several videos ago. So I think I'm going to do it on Loki. But then I saw the preview for the September fabric of the month from Under the Sea Fabrics, which is gorgeous. So I may wait when that comes in. Hopefully it comes in before October 1st. And I'll see, because if it's that one, I may go to that one. But I did get the last little bit of thread that I needed, which was the Whisper, which I've never worked with Whisper before. I've heard horror stories. But, you know, if I don't like it, I won't use it. I'll figure something else out. I also got my Under the Sea Fabric of the Month order for August. She had some delays with getting the fabric in. The places in Europe that manufactured had holidays over the summer. So, you know, took a while to get in. This is my 32 count linden in Umbriel. It's a really pretty brown, blue. I love the modeling on it. It's just lovely. I don't know what I'll stitch on it yet, but I think it's beautiful. Yay! So I got that. And then I got the part of my, or the order that I made from 123 Stitch. I'm not going to take this out of the bag because it's Ada and DMC, but it's the last little bit that I need for my Exploding TARDIS piece that starts this month. So I'm going to be doing it on an 18 count white Ada because it's a full coverage piece, and Ada is what I do pick for full coverage pieces. And then these are the DMCs that I didn't have when I went through my stash, which isn't a lot that I didn't have. I had the majority of it, but kind of interesting to see what some of the colors are going to be in that piece when you think of its majority blue and yellow when you look at it. So I got that. And I also got a couple of patterns that I ordered as, partially because there's a sale on 123 Stitch, but also because when I was ordering like DMC or something like that, I needed something to justify the expense. The first one is from Teresa Wensler Design Works, and it's the Minstrel. Isn't that pretty? I love the dragon on it. This is one pattern that wasn't in the book that I have for Teresa Wensel. So I had to get that. And then the other one is from Sampler Cove, and it's called Kaleidoscope Flower. Isn't that cool? It's another one of those that you pick the fabric, you pick the fiber, and you just go. I just thought that was really cool. So yeah, that is part one of my haul this week. Like I said, the rest of it I will show you at the end when I'm going through all of the books. Yay! Okay, so next, week in review. Week started off really well. I had 2 new starts. First one is my Twisted Rainbow sampler, which will come up again later this month for Specialty Stitch September. This is where I just got the first half of the first band done. I am doing this 1/2 in 32 count, and look at that coverage on 1/2. Garrett discovered this, how great 1/2 can look on 32. So these are silks from Jodari Designs, and I just thought the coverage was perfect on it. So yeah, I got the first half of the first band done. And this piece of fabric is large enough that I think after I do the Twisted Band sampler, or Twisted Rainbow sampler, I'm going to get the Twisted Band and do it on the other half of this fabric. We'll see. So there's that. Sorry guys, but especially now that I'm not in my normal place, I am definitely folding up and putting things away while I talk to you all, because I need to. But I don't talk to you and I wait for questions and answers like Copy Stitcher does. I can't pull it off as well. The back of my behind me looks so boring with just the plane. Sorry. Then on Monday, I started the ABCs of Parenting by Lizzie Kate, which I'm also doing 1/2 on 32 count. And I got this much done. I got the basket, and then I got Negotiate done. So yeah, that went really well. I enjoyed stitching both of those a lot, and really it was, I haven't had an issue with my stitchy bug this week beyond physically being incapable of stitching because of being too dizzy from medication. I think I just needed that week of new starts and fun stuff, like with all the specialty fibers and all that thing. I haven't had any issues with my stitchy bug since, which is a good thing. Then on the 31st, the next installment of the Storytime Sampler by Frosted Pumpkin came out, and I did finish it. It was Black Beauty. Not my favorite story, but it was fun to stitch up the frame. And there's Black Beauty. I really like stitching up the horse. And this square, or this frame, stitched up a lot faster than the other frames did. I think because if you look closely, there's not as many color changes. There's a lot of black in this one because of Black Beauty. But everything else, I mean, there wasn't just enough color changes to really make it seem too bad. Because the way I do my Storytime sampler, here, let me show you this real quick, the whole piece. This is the whole piece so far. 3 more frames to go. But the way I do my Storytime sampler is I always do the top little piece first, regardless of whatever colors are in it. I always do that part first. And then in the main frame, I evaluate it to see the colors, and I do all of a color in a frame before I move on to the next color in the frame. It doesn't feel like I am switching my needle as much, because even if you only have like one stitch over here and one stitch over there and it's more confetti stitches, if I'm doing it all of that color, I know when I put that color away, I'm not going to pull it out again for this piece. And that works much more easily for me. I know there are complaints that some people have had that it feels like there are too many color changes in it, and there are a lot of color changes for such a small space. But that's my suggestion. Do all of the color, all of a single color in the frame, like do all the black, or do all the flesh, or do all whatever colors, like the blues or the yellow. Just pick a color, do all of that color, and then pick the next color and move on. That's what works for me. Then on the 1st, the Virgo came out for the Zodiac. It took me 4 days to do. I partially blame meds. I mostly blame meds, really, and just life happening in general. But here is the Virgo portion, starting with the little planet up here and going all the way down. And then, sorry, this moves a whole lot more because there's not something behind it to study it. Here is the full piece so far. I'm really liking this piece. I still have no clue what I'm going to do with it when it's done in 3 months, but I still think it's gorgeous. Even if it took me 4 days this month to do. Maybe it was just an anomaly. Like I said, health and all that other sort of thing. Hopefully, you know, we get the blood pressure to control, and then we can see what was actually affiliated to my blood pressure being really high. And then, which runs in the family. Both my parents have high blood pressure. So we'll see. I go back to the doctor this week to see how my meds are working for me. I've got a blood pressure cuff now. I'm taking my blood pressure every day. But we're going to see how many of the other things that I was having issues with are affiliated with the fact that I was having high blood pressure, and then go from there. So, and then the piece I worked on yesterday was Christmas Elegance by Mirabilia. For some reason, I was reluctant to start on her. She's also the piece where I stopped when I was getting bored with my, when I needed before August Angst. But I watched The Lovely Array, and she was showing off her August Peridot Fairy, and I just like, oh, I would pick up my mirror. So thank you, Mackenzie, for helping out with that. This is where I got yesterday. I finished the white of her gloves, and then I started on the greens that were above her gloves. Kind of hard to see in the fabric right now, but yeah. So there we got on Christmas Elegance, and that is all I got to this past week. I did work on Box of Delights for Specialty Stitch September every day. Haven't done it yet for today, but I've worked on it every day so far this week. I will show you guys that on Tuesday. It's going along really well. Really like black work. Really like black work. It's fun and relaxing. I enjoy it muchly. So that brings us to whips for the week. There are a couple holdovers because I just didn't get to everything this week, but that's okay. First piece for this week is going to be Cinderella by Joan Elliott, which you all have seen several times before. She pretty. I love her skirt. And here is where we're starting her at this point. Again, as you guys have seen already several times. But that's okay. See, quick reminder. That's where we're going. And my minder is Pin Up Cinderella from Gina's Unique Needle Minders, which I have another haul coming in from her. And then she's got a Christmas sale coming up at the end of this month or the beginning of October. I am doomed. Then I think I'm gonna take a little bit of a break for a while. I made some orders yesterday from a couple of different places for all of the beads that I need for my chatelaines for next year, which I'll talk about here in a minute. And I got some more needle minders on the way. I think I'm gonna slow down a little bit and just try to limit. I say this. I'm gonna try to limit what I've got coming in for the rest of the year to basically be my finishing up kitting my chatelaine, and then if I start a new piece, if I need something for that piece, and then just my monthly stuff. Otherwise, just gonna try to stash diet-ish, which is weird for the stash queen to say. But I've got a lot of stuff to move in here, and I'm realizing that. But we'll see. I may and likely will completely negate that later on, because that's what I do. Here is the other holdover for this week, which is Crowns of the Kingdom by Rosewood Manor. And this is being done completely with Petite Treasure braid, which is still not fully come in yet. I'm still missing a couple of those, so hopefully they'll get in this week. Otherwise, I'll just stitch around it. This is on 32 Lugana in Legacy from Picture This Plus. And since it is all Petite Treasure braid, it is obviously all done with one strand. And here's where I stopped after I started it. So not a whole lot of progress, but a little bit. And then my piece of gold needle minder from Gina. So that'll be the piece for tomorrow. Obviously I had a strand of Rainbow Petite Treasure braid that I stopped using when I stopped working on it. Will say I do like kind of having a place to rest my back, because I moved all of the furniture in my daughter's room. So lots of furniture in her room. But she's got a whole lot more floor space now, which is good. Her bed before was kind of in the middle of the room, and now we moved it to a corner. And I think that's gonna work a lot better for her. We got the desk moved in by her window. We got all of her other stuff still stayed in the room. There's still a little bit more cleaning that needs to be done in there, which I'm gonna go after this video and make sure my daughter does. But yeah, I was happy with that. Still need to tackle her closet. I may wait until next weekend to do that, because I don't really feel like doing it right now. Next piece, now we're in, those are the two holdovers for this past week that I didn't get to. Next piece is my, I can't show you the pattern because it is one of my electronic patterns, but it's my Doctor Who clock from Cloud's Factory. Wibbly wobbly, tiny wimey. And this is being done on a 32 count Opal Lugana jewel from Under the Sea Fabrics. Yay! So we'll start with the Doctors and we'll see where we're going. We're getting close to the new season starting. I'm excited. I'd written down, oh well, I'm not sure where that went. Oh, sorry. No! Close up, scary, I know, I'm sorry. I've been watching Doctor Who to get ready for the new season. I'm excited. And my son is excited because he is a Whovian. And he has been seeing the commercials that they're starting to show with 12's hair being a little bit more crazy this season. He's getting a kick out of that for sure. Next piece that I have is a Dimensions Gold Collections Petites, and it's Dreaming of Tuscany. Cute little Tuscan scene. And here is where I am on that. I'm using the steampunk key from Gina. That's where I stopped last time I worked on this piece. So we'll see how far we get this time. It's really not that big of a piece. See? But it's a kit. Yay. Next whip for this week is my Edwardian Lady by Joan Elliott. Feels like I haven't worked on a Joan Elliott in forever. I've got 2 this week. Isn't she beautiful? And I am doing this on 32 Jobelin in Calypso from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. I have decided, let me show you this. I'll tell you what I've decided. That's where we start at this point. There's a Claire needle minder from Minding My Minders. I have decided that all of the pieces that I've started on 32 count were all started 2/2 except for the new ones. And I'm going to finish them 2/2 because I don't want to go back and deal with the fact that, or frog anything or anything like that. But I think from now on, unless for some reason the coverage looks wonky when I do it, I'm gonna start doing all of my 32 count pieces 1/2. The coverage looks good. You save thread that way because you only need 1 strand instead of 2. It's a good thing, especially considering how many specialty flosses I've been starting to use these days. Next we have Elf's Garden by Soda Stitch. Again, it's been a while since I worked on that Soda Stitch pattern. I love this pattern. I just think it's adorable. Yes, they're all naked under the flowers, you assume, but hey, who cares? I still think it's awesome. I am doing this on 32 Belfast in Wildflowers by Under the Sea Fabrics. And here's where I am at this point. I started working on Summer. It's the starting point that I worked on. So here she is at this point. Is she pretty? And here's the whole, and I know it's all wrinkly, but so you've got all sorts of pretty colors with the fabrics. And I'll have some left over on the edges, but I really liked where she started with the modeling on it. So I'll figure out what to do with the scraps when I'm done. And I am using Drink Me, Sparkly Drink Me Needle Minder from Gina. Because, you know, let's go drink some potion and go into the fairyland, or the elf land as this one's being called. Okay, let's fold this baby back up. And then the last piece for this week on the agenda is another Dimensions kit. This is European Bistro from the Dimensions Gold Collection. I've seen this piece done so many times. It's so stunning when it's done. And here is where I am at this point. This whole section, like this whole area here, is almost exclusively half stitch. So I'm hoping I can get some good progress on it. And then I'm using a Once Upon a Time needle minder with Regina and Rumple and Hook from Minding My Minders. So we'll see how far we get this week. So those are my whips for the upcoming week. Look, on next Sunday, I will show you guys where I got on all of them. And I'm hoping that this week there aren't any holdovers. I don't like holdovers, not because I'm obsessed about my rotation. That's not why. I don't like holdovers because it means it's going to take me longer to get to other pieces that I want to work on. And I know, I can hear some people saying, well, why don't you just work on the pieces you want to work on anyway? Because I want to work on all 62. That's really the long and short of it. Some I want to work on more than others. Don't get me wrong. There are some pieces that I'm like, okay, great. Versus, oh my God, I want to work on this. But all 62 pieces in my rotation, I work on because I want to work on them. And I would feel more guilty if I had, if I only picked up 1 or 2 or 3 pieces and only focused on those for a while, because then all of these other pieces are languishing. And I can handle it a lot better putting these pieces to the side that I finished for this week and knowing I'm not going to get to them again for a while. But I know I'm going to get to them. And it works. It makes me feel better that way with all the whips that I've started. But if you like a rotation, great. If you don't, great. As long as you're enjoying what you're doing. Next, I was going to get into the books. But let me do a couple of other things first. One, I am so far behind on Flosstube. Thank you for the several different people who told me about the watch it later feature, because that's been a godsend. I every day go in at least probably 2 or 3 times a day and add watch later, watch later, watch later, watch later. I may feel like, I'll sit down and I'll do some stitching and I'm like, oh good, look, I got through 4 or 5 of the videos, and then I add 10 or 12. It's like I'm never catching up. When I comment when I can. So you may be getting comments from me a week or 2 after you've done the video. That's why. I'm sorry. But I'm watching. I'm trying to get caught up. I mean, it's a good problem to have. Don't get me wrong. It's a very good problem to have. But, I'll get there eventually, sometime, maybe. Try to anyway. The second thing is a little bit of Stitch Mania news. There's been a lot of threads going on Stitch Mania talking about chatelaines, to the point that I sat down with Coffee Stitcher and I said, okay, look, why don't we have 2 different stitch-alongs next year that last for the entire year on top of our monthly themed stitch-alongs? Because he has one that he wants to do for a whole year that he's in charge of setting up and hasn't done yet. So Coffee Stitcher, I'm calling you out. If you want to still do that stitch along we talked about, you need to set it up. But I went ahead and set up a 2016 chatelaine stitch along in Stitch Mania. With hopefully the intention being that it's a new start for a chatelaine, because a bunch of people have brand new starts for chatelaines ready to go. Some are just nervous to get started. Some are working on kitting it up and just want to have like an end date of when they need to have it kitted up by. Some people like me already have one going on and want to start 2. I'm not the sanest of the bunch. Let's just be perfectly honest here. But there are others who don't have a chatelaine that they're ready to start, but they have a chatelaine whip that they're wanting to work on. So, that stitch along is going to last the entire year for 2016. We'll have the group as much as we can if we end up needing to, like the event, but I know some people have issues with events disappearing after the start date, even if the end date isn't until the future. Facebook drives me nuts in regards to that. If we end up needing to form a separate group for it so we don't lose stuff, we will, but we'll see how it goes. So if you're interested, if you have a chatelaine that you're looking to start next year, and you want some encouragement to go along, whether it's your first chatelaine or your 50th chatelaine, come and join us. We'd love to have you. We are still going to do monthly themed stitch-alongs in 2016, like we have this year. Well, May is obviously going to be Stitch Mania 2016, which will be 15 starts in 15 days. Or more if you choose, or less, but that's basically what it is 15 starts in 15 days to honor the original Stitch Mania from this year. I'm sure there'll be another Wine and Whips month in there. I've heard quite a few people wish that we had another one, so maybe I'll do one at the beginning, or we'll do one at the beginning of the month, maybe, or beginning of the year. Maybe we'll do it at the end of the year too. We'll see what's going on. I could use another Wine and Whips month. But we like the idea of keeping everything, like just 1 month theme, thematic, so that you can use whatever pieces you have already in your rotation. We rarely do stitch-alongs based on a specific designer. This one, the chatelaine, is chatelaine designs. The one that Coffee Stitcher is going to do is for a specific designer. But other than that, we're very flexible. If your piece fits in the theme for the month, go for it. That's go for it. So that's just, you know, we've had a lot of new people joining Stitch Mania. We welcome more people every day. If you'd like to join us. If not, that's totally cool too. We'd love to have you one way or the other. So anyway, sorry, I've got little beads all over not beads that I would use, but beads that were like in craft things that apparently got spilled and were under the desk and I didn't know it. I'm going to get this room started this week. I need to do it. Anyway, rambling on. I bought this week 5 new books from Half Price Books. Garrett told me once that he had shown me a book that he had gotten at Half Price Books. I'm like, oh, I need to do that sometime. And that was months ago that he told me that. And then I was out this week running around and doing errands and all that sort of thing. And I passed the Half Price Books and I said, you know what? I'm going in. Now, I will say, the cross-stitch books, I ended up going to 2 Half Price Books. Sorry. The cross-stitch books were in the arts and crafts section. And in the 2 that I went to, it only consisted of 1 shelf. There weren't a ton of cross-stitch books. There were more embroidery, needlework, quilting, lots of scrapbooking. And actually one of these books I didn't actually find in the cross-stitch section. I found it in the embroidery needlework section. So if you go to your Half Price Books and you look, I'm assuming they will probably have a cross-stitch shelf. But if not, look in the needlework / embroidery section and you never know what you might find. I have already watched a couple of videos that obviously I was behind on that showed off a couple of like encyclopedia type books for specialty stitches and others type of things that I've seen some similar to that when I was at Half Price Books, but I didn't pick them up. But I may go back, may make this like a monthly thing where I go once a month and just see what's new. We'll see. So the first one, you're gonna notice a theme. But if you've watched this channel for any length of time, none of this should shock you. The first one that I got is called Celtic Cross Stitch, Over 40 Small, Exciting, and Innovative Projects by Anne Orr and Leslie Clark. It originally retailed for, I don't know if it even says how much it originally retailed for in here. Doesn't say. It was first published in 2001. I got it for $5.99 at Half Price Books. But it's really cool, all Celtic themed. And it starts off, you know, it's by the 4 elements: water, fire, air, and earth. And it starts off with, you know, practicalities, the differences between Aida and even weave, which, you know, amazingly enough, it calls Aida in here block weave, which I have not ever heard that term before. But it says Aida is a block weave fabric, which kind of makes sense. I never thought of it that way before. Talks about other equipment you might need for putting stuff together, working techniques on how to do stuff, basic instructions, how to read things. Talks about, you know, lacing up a frame in the back. It's a good little set of instructions on how to do different things. So it starts off with water and it gives a whole, you know, information about the Celts and different things. It's really cool. So this one is Conola's Well-Scented Pillow, which is many salmon of knowledge live peacefully in the secret setting of Conola's Well. When the maiden Bowen trespassed on the sacred place to discover the secret of their magic powers, the salmon deserted the well and swam away to become the river Boyne. So, salmon ones. And then it moves on to a swimming salmon cushion, which is, although according to legend, the salmon deserted Conola's well, they were always regarded as sacred fish. Wells are also considered holy places of pilgrimage for pagans and later Christian ceremonies of worship and healing. So it's still the same sort of fish. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure you guys don't see the pattern, but it's more on the pillow side of things, which is kind of cool. And to continue the salmon theme, the salmon tissue sachet says, when Finn had eaten the salmon of knowledge, he had the power to see into the future by chanting a sacred poem and placing his finger on the tooth of knowledge. Yeah, where were we here? There you go, because there's a pattern underneath there. Sorry. Salmon are big in Celtic history, because here's another one. This is Wise Salmon Card and Gift Tag. Irish myths tell the story of a salmon that lived in a pool surrounded by the 9 hazel trees of wisdom. In one magical hour, these trees would bloom and drop their fruit into the pool. The salmon ate the hazelnuts and became imbued with wisdom and healing gifts. Again, there's a pattern underneath, so there's lots of things to do with these cute little Celtic salmon. The next thing is the water jewel purse. Water was a sacred element for the Celts, providing a passage between the world of man and the underworld of the spirits. Offerings were made to these gods to persuade them to look kindly on men and to invoke the healing powers of water. Jewels would be cast into the sea or wells as votive offerings. So I like this one a lot. I think this is really pretty. And it gives instructions in the book on how to make it into the purse. I like that one a lot. I think that's really pretty. Then you have the sea serpent purse, which is the serpent was one of the most powerful of the Celtic deities. It was associated with wisdom and the renewal of life, echoing the ability of the snake to slough off its old skin. Its S shape suggests running water, and the names for many of the rivers in Britain and Ireland are based on the local word for a snake. Sea serpents guarded the entry to the other world beneath the sea. Sorry, trying not to show patterns. It's another really cool one. But we all know I like Celtic things. Then we have the fish and wave sampler. Manannán mac Lir, the Irish sea god, was the first king of the Isle of Man. His chariot was drawn by huge waves, and he possessed a boat that obeyed his voice and a sword that could penetrate the thickest armor. Celtic saints such as Brendan braved the dangers of the sea and its monsters to bring Christianity to pagan tribes. It's another just really cool little... I love the colors. Sorry, my face is beat on the side. And this one, let's see if I can show this without showing patterns. They've got the fish like on the towel. It's part of the same pattern, just a different way of using it. Then you have rainbow fish cards. Irish legend tells of the druid Finnegas, who found the salmon of knowledge, an enormous fish that had all the colors of the rainbow swirling and dancing on its gleaming skin. It was eaten by his pupil Finn, who gained wisdom and immense powers of magic. It's got all these little different cards with little Celtic fish on them. Then the next element was fire. It says, fire is the element of heat and of the life-giving warmth of the sun, vital for the growth of crops. Fire kept man warm in the long, dark winter months. It melted the metal to be beaten into swords, shields, and armor for protection in battle, and baked the clay fashioned into domestic pots and bowls. It was an element of destruction, of the flames that could burn down wooden houses, and of the dragon's breath that threatened the hero in his quest. Let's see if I can do this one. Let's try. This is a knot bookmark. Pagan Celtic heroes did not die, but changed their shape to a different form in a new life. The knot was an expression of this idea of infinity. In many cultures, it was taboo to imitate created life. The challenge for the artist was to use mathematics and geometry to create a line without either beginning or end, to symbolize this sense of endless continuity by interlacing borders and panels. I like the pattern. I'm not a huge fan of the colors that they used on this one, but I do like the pattern. And if you're into bookmarks, that's a cool one. I think cool with a really nice variegated thread. Then there is a serpent and knot key rings. There are close artistic links between Celtic art and that of the surrounding peoples, the Anglo-Saxons, the Picts, and the Vikings. It is impossible to unravel these links, but certain characteristics stand out. Images of dogs and hunting from the Anglo-Saxons, the incised sculptural lines of the Picts, and here the wide ribbon-like knots of the Norsemen. So they made little knot keychains, which are cute. I like those. And it also says you can make them into magnets, mount them on cards. This is the incised wear book cover. The majority of Celtic art is found on portable practical objects. The remains of drinking vessels with simple decoration incised in the earthenware before firing have been found in the graves and tombs of wealthy noblemen. At times when burial rites included cremation, only fragments survived inside pottery urns, themselves decorated with incised patterns. Got a book cover and a bookmark for that. Let's see. Then we've got the sun cushions. Fire festivals were used to mark important changes in the seasons. For Celts living in the north, the growing strength of the sun as winter changed to summer was of enormous significance. Beltane, named after Belanus, the god of fire, was celebrated on the 1st of May, marking the beginning of summer and the pasturing of cattle in the fields. Druids guided the ceremonies where fires were lit on hilltops and cattle driven beneath the gates of fire. Lughnasadh was the festival of late summer and the harvest. It was named after Lugh, the god of the sun, whose heat had made the crops grow. Lugh was a formidable warrior and magician. Metalwork was an important Celtic art, and the legends tells of Lugh using his powers over fire to forge weapons to help Cuchulainn in his battles. Aren't those cool? I like those. Let's see, here's the dragon spectacle case. Tales from ancient Brittany speak of a dangerous demon, a dragon terrifying the people. Arthur of Britain was summoned to slay it, but after 3 days and nights of battle, it was finally Ethelyn, the son of the King of Ireland, who lured the monster to its death by the sea. And there's the eyeglasses case. But also talks about how you could just take the dragon and put it into a card, too. See. Then we move on to air. Air was one of the divine elements that embraced the flight of angels and birds and was the element of the sun, moon, and stars. Christ and the evangelists were enthroned in the glory of the heavens. Mysterious three-armed whirliwigs spun through space, protecting men from evil spirits. In the same way that clouds change their shape, Celtic deities could change from human form to bird and back again. So we have a Celtic angel pincushion. I like this one. It says, pagan Celts considered it profane to depict their gods in human form. As a result, there was no artistic tradition to portray holy Christian figures. Saints and angels were illustrated in stiff poses, strongly influenced by the Byzantine art of the early Christian church. Angels were regarded as mediators between men and God. I'm trying not to show the pattern that's above this. See, isn't that cool? Into a little pillow. Then you got the eagle bookmark. In the cycle of Welsh legends, King Arthur helped his cousin Culwig perform a series of tasks in order to win the hand of Olwen, the daughter of a giant. They are helped by an eagle and his friend the salmon, who another salmon. Salmon are big in Celtic lore, apparently. Who carried them along the river to the town of Gloucester. I can't pronounce that, sorry. There is still an eagle to be found there today, incised into a stone in the spring. Gloucester, something like that. I like the colors on that one too. It's a cool bookmark. Then you've got an eagle box, which says many Celtic birds portray an eagle and were obviously influenced by Jupiter, the Roman god of the skies, whose symbol was an eagle and whose sacred tree was the oak. In one Welsh legend, the warrior Lugh was mortally injured, but turned into an eagle and flew into an oak tree to escape death. I like that one too. It's got, stitching instructions, making it up, variations, and what else you can do with these. This is a silver triskel box. The triskel is a three-armed whirliwig. It was a sacred Celtic symbol combining two significant elements, the mystical number 3 and the idea of rotation. For pagan Celts, the rotation of the sun and the seasons was very important. Its tripartite form made it easy to connect the triskel with the Christian concept of the Trinity and later Celtic art. I think that's also very pretty. And I like how it's like this little box that they made. And then this is Saint and Bird's icon. Each of the 4 evangelists, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, was often symbolized by a bird or an animal. This is John, whose symbol was an eagle. The most magnificent pages of an illuminated manuscript were often the introductory pages of each gospel. The saint sits enthroned on the page, surrounded by richly detailed symbols and borders. John holds a book in his hands, the gospel he has written for the faithful. Isn't that pretty? Then we've got a Celtic swan needle case. It says, Care, a beautiful young girl, sang to Angus in his dreams. He almost died from unrequited love before he searched and eventually found her with 50 other maidens, all changed into swans. He recognized her by the golden chain around her neck. After many trials, she eventually became his wife, after he had promised that she could change back into a swan whenever she wished. Because, you know, every woman wants the right to be able to change back into a swan. It's a cool needle case. Let's see here. We got a Duro Saint sachet. The Book of Duro is one of the oldest of the surviving Celts illuminated manuscripts. It dates from the 7th century AD and is named after the monastery founded by Saint Columba in County Offaly in Ireland. At the beginning of the book, a page illustrates each of the 4 evangelists. This design is inspired by one of them. The evangelist has a wonderful, naive, geometric simplicity. The style shows an art form not yet totally comfortable with the depiction of the human figure. I think that one's cool. Let's see here. And they even do it also into a clothes hanger, the knot part of it into a clothes hanger. Which, you know, I'm not going to cross stitch my clothes hangers, but that's pretty cool. Let's see here. And this was the bird-headed Triskel Scissor Keep. Celts love the idea of shifting shapes. In many legends, the heroes change into an animal or bird and back again. They also like to hide animal forms within geometric shapes. In this design, the magical whirling arms of the Triskel end in 3 bird heads. The Triskel was a protection from the evil spirits. I like the scissors that went with it too. Cute little scissor fob. I don't use scissor fobs, but it's cute. And then earth was the final design. It's the life-giving soil to grow crops to feed man and beast. It was governed by the all-important seasons, by the cycle of planting and harvest, of birth and death. Rock was hewn from the earth and raised as standing stones, again to mark the passing of time with ritual and sacrifice. Rocks were carved with spirals and knots to express the continuity and infinite complexity of the life-giving forces. This one's a vine card. It's a long continuity of Celtic art is apparent in the use of vine motifs in the illuminated manuscripts of Scotland and Ireland, far from any growing vine. It shows the far-reaching influence of early Mediterranean, classical, and even Egyptian art on the Celts. The lotus and palmate endured as images in a similar way. There's a pattern underneath this I'm trying to show. It's got it as a card or a potpourri sachet. And then they've got the vine placemat too. Like you can use as a border to put on a placemat. Or as a bookmark. That one would work as a bookmark. And then they even go, I like this, they even do it as on a napkin too. So you've got the purple placemat with that, and very nice. I like that. And then you've got a spirals cushion. It says, throughout the Celtic lands, sacred places were marked by carved pillars, an expression of energy and imitation of the tree, a potent life symbol for the Celts. The pattern on these pillars mimicked the richly decorated carpet pages of illuminated manuscripts, which in turn showed the influence of intricate interlacings from the early pagan metalwork. I made this into a pillow, which I could see doing that in all sorts of other different colors too. That could be really cool. And sorry guys, this video is going to be long because this is only book 1. And then they made the spiral into a card, and see, that's, like I said, different colors. And then they have a chessboard. This is cool. Let's see if they have a bigger one of that. Yeah, okay. An early Celtic version of the game of chess translates as wooden wisdom and already includes the central idea of the king-piece battling across the board. In the 12th century, chess was a game played by the upper classes, both men and women. Chessboards were rare and valuable, sometimes inlaid with gold and silver, and hung on the wall as ornament when not in use. This one's pretty cool. The little Celtic knots interspersed in the cool little bag that they've got for the chessmen to hold. And then they even have a chess card. It says, this pattern is carved on a pawn or foot soldier, one of the ancient chess pieces found on the wild Atlantic coastline of the Isle of Lewis. From the 8th century, Viking raids threatened the established Celtic culture of Scotland and Ireland. However, the two traditions enriched each other artistically, and Celtic treasures have been found in many Scandinavian graves. It's a cool little, sorry, there's a pattern underneath. Then here's a Celtic cross. The Celtic design combined with Christian motifs to produce a style rich with intricate patterns and symbolism. By the 7th century, rough standing stones had evolved into finely wrought crosses and were the main ornament of monasteries, although they were still sculpted with the traditional pagan Celtic motifs of spirals and triskells. I like Celtic crosses. I have a necklace that's a Celtic cross. I think that's very pretty. I like the center part a lot too. And again, you can use, and see here's even, and they made it into a card too. You could do these with all sorts of colors. You really could. And that's it. On the back, the cool thing is in the back, it gives fabric codes, and then look, DMC thread colors. How cool is that? So that is Celtic cross stitch. The next book I got was called Celtic Backstitch. Really, it's black work, is what it is. This book is Celtic Backstitch by Helen Hall. I got it for $4.99. Let's see it in here. This was first published in 2004. I don't know how much it originally cost though, but that's okay. So again, this book starts off with a tools and materials section. Talks about working the designs, fabrics, threads, metallics that you can use, you know, all your basic information. Scissors, in case you don't know what scissors are, there's a picture of scissors. Sorry, that amused me. If you want to use a frame, talks about a frame, how to finish the piece. Some really cool braid. She has braids in the piece in the book, and she gives you instructions on how to make the braids to match the colors. Lavender with potpourri, how to dry lavender to put in potpourri. Techniques. Then it talks about finding the center and how to start doing the stitches. Starting and finishing threads, washing and pressing your work, making a tassel. Part 2, projects. The first chapter for the projects is bookmarks. So this one is the chain link and key pattern bookmark, but it's all black work. Remember that. That's really pretty. I like that one. I've never really been big on making bookmarks, but I keep seeing more and more and more that I like that I might have to do. This is a face pattern bookmark, which, can you see the faces? There's the eyes, there's the mouth, the beards. This one then talks about how to make the bookmarks, so you know how to actually put them together. So then I show the 2 bookmarks. Next one was coasters. This is a key pattern coaster. And I'm sure you could put something in the middle even if you wanted to. There's plenty of space there. And then there's the interlinked tile coaster. Sorry, let me show the pattern like that. I like that one a lot too. And then we've got some, and it talks about how to make the coasters. Then scented sachets. This one is the spiral square sachet. I like that. I like all of these. I've gotten big on blackwork since starting to do the Box of Delights. I'm really enjoying it. This is the simple knotwork square sachet. A lot of these are really easy and could be all sorts of different colors. Talks about how to make the sachets. This is a quad knot drawstring sachet. Cool little bag. I like that. Then the scroll etched knot drawstring sachet. Another pretty one. These are all really pretty simple. They're all saying on here, you know, they're pretty much beginner, 2-3 days maybe. Then it talks about how to make up this drawstring sachets so you know how to do them. I love books that give the instructions on how to finish things up. That's great. Then the next is a clutch purse. Yes. Okay, stay right there. Hold on 1 second. Give me the drink. You need to stay right there.
Why you move?
Because I've got all that other stuff over there. What are you doing?
Wow.
Yes. Yes, they see your hand waving off the side. Bye, David. Close the door, buddy. Yes, I need the door closed, please. I love you. Needed some juice opened. Anyway, clutch purse. Not that I would see me using this like as a normal going out at night purse, but if you do like Ren fairs or cosplay and stuff, I could see this being really cool. And it even gives you instructions on how to make the clutch purse. This book's really good about giving a lot of instructions. Then we've got a purse and bag set, which is, here's a small like coin purse, which is really cute. I'm trying to go a little faster, everyone. And this is called a hippie bag. Again, could be really cool if you do Ren Fair or cosplay stuff. I'd love to. Haven't yet. And then talks about how to make the small purse up and to make the hippie bag. Pencil cases. This one's an interlaced pencil case. Interlaced pencil case. I like that. Again, could be really cool little. And they do give Anchor, DMC, and Madeira thread information in here. The other one was primarily DMC. This is a chain and key pattern tile pencil case. I like that one a lot too. I could see me making up a tile pencil or a pencil case for like art supplies or even stitching supplies. Talks about how to make it. And then you got a table mat. This is the Not Work table mat. I think that's really cool. It's really pretty. And it tells you the skill level. Like this one's an intermediate that they estimate would take 2 to 3 weeks to complete. Tells you how to finish up the table mat. This is cushions and tie backs. This is the key pattern cushion. I think is that. And it's also what's shown here on the cover, that key pattern cushion. And then this one does use Kreinik. So key pattern curtain tie backs. I might make some of these for in here eventually. I think that would be really cool. Because I've got some curtains in here that need tie backs. And it talks how to make the cushion and how to make the tie backs. Really, this book is fantastic with all of the instructions. And then they give you I'm not going to show you, but they give you some of the more complex patterns in the back so you can have them more easily on one of these pages for copying, for working copies. So that is Celtic Backstitch. Next one. We're out of the Celtic and we're into Fantasy Cross Stitch 60 Spellbinding Designs by Leslie Deer. This one originally retailed for $19.99 in the US. I got it for $9.99. It was originally published in 2008. Some of these patterns we've seen in some of my other books that I've shown, just to give a heads up. But that's okay. Like here's the Spellbinding Wizard. We've seen him before because I love his shoes. This coat is also really cool too. Let's see. I will say, because I've heard this in some of the other book reviews from like Carolyn and Young Pretty Mom and Jessie Marie, this book does give, here I'll show. I won't show the pattern, but I'll show what I'm talking about. It's got, you know, what the DMC information is, but if you look, without giving too much away, they've got some with the image, with the symbols in it, and some that are just colors, which is kind of, eh. But luckily the colors seem pretty easy to distinguish, and it is all color patterns in here, which is nice. And then we've got, let's see, I can't show all 4 of these small wizards, 5 of these small wizards, because it's all the pattern. But they've got small wizards, and here's an example of one of them. They're all cute little, one's got the crystal ball, one's riding a broom, one's dancing in the stars, another's got a wand, another one has a cat hanging off his broom too. They're really cute. Blue wizard, green wizard, purple wizard, pink wizard, and wizard and cat. Then we have Song of the Mermaid. It's pretty. Though the mermaid seems to have wings, which is kind of interesting. It's the mermaid picture, and it talks about on here, I like this too. It says the designs that are charted are perfect for decorating small projects. Here too have been used to adorn a bath towel and a ready-made toweling bag, so you can like pull some of the, like some of the other books, you can pull some of the little individual motifs to make other things. Color pattern, color pattern, color pattern. And then it's got some of the little individual motifs that you can pull, which I can't show you because they're the patterns. These were cool. The Native American birth totems. It says the word totem means emblem or sign, and Native Americans believe identify certain animals and birds as totems, which are spiritually symbolic. Each of the 12 phases of the moon has an associated animal or bird, and your birth totem can tell you many things about your personality, your attitudes, your strengths, and weaknesses. The 12 birth totems are linked to the 4 elements of fire, air, earth, and water. The elemental clan in which you are born represents the element you relate to and share characteristics with. The Thunderbird clan element is fire, the butterfly is air, the turtle is earth, and the frog is water. So they give you all of these cool totems. You've got the element of air, or the butterfly clan, which, you know, here's the clan symbol, and that's air. And you've got the otter, which is January 20th through the February 18th. You've got deer, which is May 21st through June 20th, which is me. So let me see here. Strengths: persistence and concentration. Weaknesses: restless and insecure. Yeah. Deer people are very sensitive, but also relaxed and carefree. They are open-minded and intellectually awake, loathe routine, and enjoy variety and challenges. They have a wild side, often leaping without reflection. Not too inaccurate. And then you've got the raven. She's really pretty. For September 22nd through October 22nd. And then you've got the frog clan. So there's a symbol for the frog clan. And you've got a wolf for February 19th through March 20th, a woodpecker for June 21st to July 21st, and a snake for October 23rd through November 22nd. And then you've got, let's see, do we miss a clan here? I think we did. Yeah, we did. The Thunderbird clan, which is, here's the symbol for the Thunderbird clan. And then you've got a falcon from March 21st through April 19th. You've got the owl for November 23rd through December 21st. That's my husband's. And then a salmon for July 22nd through August 21st. Back to salmon. Let's see here. Yeah, my husband would be the owl. I'm the deer. Let's see here. So my kids are apparently both turtles, because my son is a beaver, or maybe not. Where's my daughter's one? I guess my daughter's also a deer with me. My son would be a beaver, which is a part of the turtle clan. But you got the beaver, which is April 20th through May 20th. We got the bear, which is August 22nd through September 21st. And the snow goose, which is December 22nd through February 19th. I just think all of these are so cool. They're very, very cool. And I'm not really huge into Native American culture or lore, but it's got some really cool things. Then we've got the Legend of the Unicorn. Isn't that pretty? All the whites. This is kind of funny. Legend of the Unicorn. All of the beasts obeyed Noah when he admitted them into the ark. All but the unicorn. Confident of his strength, he boasted, "I shall swim." Which would explain why there's no more unicorns. From a Ukrainian folktale. Let's see here. So she's really beautiful. Then the next one, oh, here's another unicorn. They've got some mythical beasts that are kind of like in the Celtic style that I can't show because it's the patterns. But this one is really cool for like a chivalry unicorn. Really big horn. Wonder what they say about the size of horns. Then we have butterfly fairies. So really adorable. I like those. Are we shocked that I like fairy related things? But yeah, here's different fairies. Again, these aren't the patterns. More the butterfly fairies. They're all butterfly because they all have butterfly wings. And we get all the different little styles. Here is Queen of the Night, which is a astrological one. Isn't that cool? All the different signs of the astrology. Sorry. Gotta log back into my computer for just a second, everyone. My mom just texted me, so I need to check her texts. Hold on. Where'd it go? Of course I can't see it down here. Oh, what did she say? Sorry, can we move the phone for a sec? 1:30 maybe. What time is it? 10:32. Sorry, need to respond to my mom. You don't ignore texts from your mother. Okay. Text from my mother answered. There you go. So yeah, back to Queen of the Night. Pretty astrological clock. Then we have, yeah, and like they took some of the different images from the zodiac. Interesting which one of them they picked out, huh? And made them into little cards. So you could easily do that. And then we've got Medieval Myths, which is an alphabet. It's a Gothic alphabet. With letters and the little symbols. Let's see. More Gothic alphabet. Now here's what's funny. The person who owned this book before apparently wanted to make one of the letters. I'm not going to show you the pattern, but one of the letters, I guess, is the T, wanted to make it into a G, and so like used a pen to modify it to a G and put a little note on the side saying, make letter G. So there you go. That's what you get when you get stuff from half price books. You make it interesting notes in the book. These two pages are stuck together. And then here's a scroll alphabet, which I can't really show very easily, but I can try. It's beautiful. But it's the scroll letters. I'm not sure I would do it on black fabric. Uh-oh, sorry, Mom responded. Okay. And then we've seen this one before, I believe. It's the Power of the Dragon. Really bold on that red fabric. And they made a little card, too, with a different one of dragon down there. And they've got a whole bunch of different little types of dragons that are in patterns that I can't show you, but I can show you this one. This is a Chinese dragon. that they made into a little scroll. It's very cool. And then materials, techniques, using charts and keys, finding the fabric center, all the different types of instructions, how to attach beads, because some of these apparently have beads in them. Cross stitch, back stitch, French knot, long stitch, 3/4 cross stitch, attaching beads, mounting cards, all sorts of great instructions. So that is the Fantasy Cross Stitch by Leslie Tier. 2 more books. This one's Cross Stitch Myth and Magic. Wizards, angels, dragons, mermaids, cherubs, unicorns, and fairies. Paid $7.99. It was originally $24.99. Good deal. This one was published originally in 2002. Yeah, that's what I thought. We got a Teresa Wensler pattern for the very first one. This is the Princess and Her Dragon. Isn't that gorgeous? Just stunning. And yes, it's a Teresa Wensler pattern. So you know, it's got all of the blended threads and all that stuff. And beads. This is Merlin the Wizard, which I think we've seen before in one of my other books. Ow! That hurt. Then we've got the Castle and the Dragon, which are cute little black work patterns. I'm taking off the dust cover because it's going to get ripped otherwise. Pattern, 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 pattern. And they've got, I can't show you, but they've got like all of these different myth and magic motifs. Like there's a cat and a sun and a moon and a castle and different borders, different shields with heraldry stuff, so you can make little individual things. This one is called A Stranger Cometh. It's Santa going to a castle. Very Christmassy. That one's by Susan Penny. This one's called Frost Fairy. It was based on a painting by Linda and Roderick Garland, designed by Susan Penny. That one's just really cool. I like that one a lot. Very cool. Or cold. Then we have Winter Angel by Sue Cook, which is down here. She's really pretty. Pattern, 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 pattern. This one seems to have all symbols in their little parts. Some require beads, some require French knots, some require backstitch. Then they have a whole bunch of winter enchantment motifs. So winter fairy, a white wolf, a Santa, a lot of Elsa-y type things. This one is, the next section is Oriental Fantasy. This is the Goddess of Mercy. She's beautiful. Not usually my style, but she is beautiful. So it looks like each of the sections gives a few different patterns and then some motifs that fit into the pattern. This is Oriental Dragon. And then we have Good Fortune Emblems, Wealth, Success, Long Healthy Life, and Double Happiness. You can make all sorts of different little things. Pattern, 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 pattern. And then more motifs, dragon heads. I could show you these, but they're the patterns, and I don't really want to show you those. Then we've got Angel Messengers. Yeah. The first section was, I didn't realize these were divided up like this. First section was called Myth and Magic. And that was with the dragons and all that. Then it was Winter Enchantment, then Oriental Fantasy, and now Angel Messengers. This is Angel of Peace. She's beautiful. All sorts of different designers in this book, which is cool because it gives you different techniques and all that. This is Princess and the Unicorn. Another really pretty one. Sorry, I'm getting too close. She looked really pretty on a nice hand-dyed, I think. The Golden Cherub and the Lear. Made into a cool little pillow. Pattern, 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 pattern. And then motifs with a unicorn, more little cherubs, a dove, borders. Then we're into the Mystic Deep. This first one is called Aquamarine. Not sure what I feel about this one, because she's topless and kind of looks like she has a gut. But, you know, not everything can be perfect. Then we have Friends from the Deep. This one's really cute. I like that one. Very good for someone who likes sea life or dolphins or stuff like that. Then Poseidon and his undersea world. They give different little motifs and they show different ways to post them or to do them. Pattern, 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 pattern. And then more little motifs. Little Ariel type mermaid, turtles, octopus. Then we've got the Celestial Heavens. This one is called Celestial Heaven, and it's a zodiac. This one's gorgeous, though. I like this one a lot. I might actually have to do this one. Not that I need any more zodiacs, but it's stunning. I love that. And it looks like they took off some of the motifs and put them into different cards and stuff. Gemini's me, Pisces, Aries. Let's see, pattern, 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 pattern. And then it talks about stitching techniques, working with beads, blending threads, all that sort of thing. So that was this one, Cross Stitch Myth and Magic. The last one, I don't think I'll go through everything because it's been talked about before. Sorry, putting the book cover back on. It is Joan Elliott's Cross Stitch Sentiments and Sayings. It was originally in the US for $24.99. I got it for $5.99. Jessie Marie is doing the My Aim is to Keep This Bathroom Clean, Your Aim Will Help from this book. I think I have seen Carolyn review this book, I think. So I won't go through all of it because there's other books out there that show that. But I will show, let me see, let me find my favorite one in here. Because this video is already almost pushing an hour and 20 minutes. Let me find it. Should have marked it, but I didn't. I do like the one that Jessie Marie's doing. That one's really cute. And this one's, again, it's a Joan Elliott book, so it's got good instructions. I do see what she was complaining about, because I'd complain about it too, with the colors without the symbols in it. It would be a lot easier if there were symbols. I do like the rest of this whole series beyond the Your Aim Will Help. The complaints to the cook can be hazardous to your health. You may look at the dust, but please don't touch it. It's my mess and I love it. I like all of those. I may stitch all of those at some point. And then I like the Celtic Spirit one. Are we shocked? And there's other little motifs for that in here too. I'm trying to see if there's anything else in here to show. This one's really pretty. I think I've shown this somewhere else. It looks very familiar. It could just be that I've seen it somewhere else before. But this is the Wisdom of the East sampler. It's just really pretty. And I'm not into Oriental things, so I think that's gorgeous. But yeah, those were the books that I got. So, you know, if you ever get a hankering to look and see what you can find, go to your local half-price books. You never know what little treasures you may find while you're out one day. So that's it for me. This video is long. Sorry. Not sorry. Whatever. I'll be back on Tuesday with my updates for Specialty Stitch September. I'll show you where I got with Box of Delights and show you where we're starting with the next piece. Then other than that, I will be back on Sunday for my normal weekly update. I hope you all have a great stitchy week. If there's anything you want or need from me, please feel free to put it in the comments. I am reading the comments, even if I'm not getting to all of them responding right away. I'm working on responding. It's just here and there as I can that I'm getting the responses in. So anyway, Have a great stitchy week, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!